Welcome back to Our Dragon Adventures. I'm Scott Kegler.
And I'm Rob McPherson.
And this is our preview of Micro Midgard. Micro Midgard is a game designed by Ben Downton, being published by Prometheus Games. It'll be coming to crowdfunding pretty soon.
Yeah, should be hitting Kickstarter on May 1st, which might be where some of you are seeing this video. So if not, I will put a link down into the description below, so definitely check it out. There are 3 different versions, which we'll get to in just a couple minutes.
Absolutely. So what is this game about?
So Micro Midgard is you are battling for favor of the god. Favor, right? I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're battling for favor of the gods. Yeah, because the blessings.
You're a champion of Midgard.
And you are manipulating where the favor falls so that you can get more and more blessings and gain resources to fight it out and race towards Ragnarok. Or Ragnaroks, I guess.
They're fulfilling prophecies of the prophecies of Ragnarok. So in the game, the way that it works is it is a worker placement game with a bit of this like rondel mechanic that you are using to gather the resources, to move up these blessing and relic tracks, to get what you need in order to fulfill these prophecies, and whatever champion is fulfilling it is going to win the game. So on your turn, you're going to select one of the workers. They're a shared group of workers. Move one of them to an available adjacent space, place your marker on it, and then activate that space. And there are a number of different actions throughout the game. Many of them are going to be just gather resources or activate one of the 4 tracks here, the blessing tracks on the board. When you activate them, you can either move up them or activate the certain tier you're on or any action below it, resetting yourself to the bottom. The game continues until you have either fulfilled all the prophecies and whoever has the highest score wins, or if one player successfully gets 9 victory points, that immediately ends the game. There's also, I should mention, it's a 2-player game. It takes about 30 minutes. There's a solo mode as well, where you go up against Loki, who is manipulating the events with all the gods and basically blocking movements for you throughout the game, and he's gathering his own resources and generating victory points.
Yeah, noteworthy about the solo mode, it was co-designed with Shem Phillips from Garphill Games. So if you're familiar with his work at all, you should be familiar with how the play of solo is going to go.
It's pretty smooth as far as that goes. It was pretty easy to pick up. So talk a little bit about the gameplay. It is pretty tight as far as the action economy and just the decision space in the game.
Yeah, so the description on the site describes it as a tactical worker placement game, and I think that's a good way to put it because there's very few decisions in terms of where you can move your worker to, because either the workers are either going to be blocked by other meeples, or you're going to have markers on them so you can't move them, because you can't move anything that was moved last turn. So between that, you only get up to, at most, 4 choices, really.
Right. Usually it's about like 2 or 3 options that you have, sometimes only 2.
Yeah, and it's definitely, I found as we were playing it, you're making a choice equally based off of what you want to do and what you don't want your opponent to do. So I made a couple of choices that I wanted to make sure that I was using a meeple so that you couldn't move it on to an action.
So it
worked well for me.
In a true Viking-themed game, there's a lot of hate drafting that's happening here, and a destruction of the board in a very Viking-themed way. Just with Ragnarok, the actions are going to become less enticing across the board throughout the game as the game ramps up.
Yep.
So you're hoping that you've invested enough relics, which give you additional action economy, that you can activate on your turns to get the most out of them.
Yeah, I think that was one of my favorite parts of the game, is that as we were triggering these prophecies of Ragnarok, we were flipping over tiles within the game to indicate they were destroyed, and the actions got worse on them. Never useless, but just it was mostly resource grabs on the other side. But it really felt like we were affecting the world in some way. And when we play again, I'll probably try to, I was telling Scott right before this, I'll probably try to balance a little bit, because you can see from our board here, we really went heavy on destruction of the night side of the board.
Right.
And it made for some frustrating turns at the end.
Yeah, because it just escalates the game. How often you're triggering prophecies, which doesn't give you the time you need necessarily to shore up. Because most of the prophecies in the game are whoever has the most of this resource or a combination of these resources, whoever's the furthest on a track, whoever has the most relics. They're all some combination of that.
Yeah. The other thing I'll say about gameplay that I did like is, especially as you build up your pool of relics, the ability to chain through some actions. I think on your last turn you ended up taking equivalent of almost 4 actions. You were able to chain really, really well.
I did something that triggered into a double knight, which triggered into another. So
there's a good amount of synergies built into such a small game, which I really appreciate. I get frustrated on games that have such a tight decision space when it's okay. The decision, that's all I get to do though. So at least this one, you take a decision and it's a limited decision, but then it chains into a couple of other things. So it was clever.
Right, and it's fast enough where like when you have a suboptimal turn, it was like, okay, I'll get it on next turn.
One. Yeah.
So can I take a suboptimal turn that's going to make sure that my opponent's turn is also suboptimal?
Right. Yeah.
Which is interesting. Accessibility. The rules are very well laid out. It's a prototype copy, so I'm sure there's going to be things that are some additional clarity that's added.
Yeah, I've actually already gotten an email recently with
excellent.
an update of rules.
I will say, though, like the reference section that they already have established for just defining what all the prophecies are, the blessings and relics, how they work, is really solid. It's some minor things. I think terminology that was used occasionally on like how to activate certain tracks.
Yeah.
We already talked about the solo rules a little bit. Very easy to follow how Loki works and how he moves around the board and simulates the way that you would play with another opponent. You don't necessarily get hate drafting. It's like accidental hate drafting from
right. Yeah, and that's pretty common in a rondel style game where it doesn't necessarily feel intentional,
right?
Because there's only so much intent you can put into a deck of cards,
right? Yeah, they're just activated by you're activating and flipping over a card, and he has a order of operations or priorities for where he's going to move a meeple and then lock out that space for you. But I thought it was very easy to pick up. The teach is maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah, we played the 30-minute game, including teach.
Yeah.
So once you get the hang of this game, if you've played it several times, you could probably knock it out in 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, if there's not a lot of AP. Yeah. As far as design, but the first thing for me that really stood out is I like a lot of the graphic design choices. Everything was very easy to follow once you understand what a resource is. Mm-hmm. Looking at the this is mead, and lets me take that night action twice. Great, that's easy. These two crescent moons,
good iconography. Mm-hmm. I love the artwork on it.
Oh, another cool thing is just to save on the cost of the game. There are technically 8 gods, so every game you're going to have a variation of those 8 gods. Each blessing card or blessing track is actually representative of 2 gods that represent that area of the board. So the meeples are also double-sided that come with the game, or I think come with the deluxified version, because we have a combination of some of the deluxe components with the standard components. But they just have the other god printed on the other side, so it just saves you on the cost of the game a little bit, which I appreciated that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as I said, I was starting to say, I really love the look of the game. It stood out to me. I'll destroy our tableau here just to show the front of the box. I'll hold it up to this camera, and then I'll hold it up to the above camera and see. Yeah, looks much better here. So I love the look of it. It's really, really pretty. The graphic design is really good. And even the board itself has just got some really nice detail to it that it brought me into the theme really well.
Yeah, and like we said, it's a prototype copy, so all these things are subject to change. But like a lot of the art choices and graphic design choices are solid. I'm sure they'll remain the same. The quality, we really can't talk about the quality of the components right now, just because it's a prototype. But I assume these are the deluxe versions. They look similar to what I've seen pictured online. They have for their Ragnarok edition of Micro Midgard, which are wooden VP tokens, wooden wolf meeples. Those are all. I like the screen printing on them. They may even be better in the deluxe copy.
Yeah, because you said there were some duplicates.
We have all the cardboard ones that came with the prototype.
Gotcha.
You can see, like those are the meeples. They're supposed to be. And you would just flip them over, but they're actual meeples in here rather than just cardboard discs. But I mean, if you don't need the deluxified copy of it, it may be more.
Yeah, in fact, that's a good jumping off there.
Yeah.
So there's going to be 3 versions of this game in the Kickstarter. There is the lowest tiered version, which is what's being called, I believe, the envelope version, which is all of the components are going to be able to fit into a single envelope for shipping, which is going to really keep costs down. So that's when you're going to get the cardboard meeples, definitely.
All the cards.
All the cards.
Foldable board, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the board is going to work. I think it's going to be the foldable board, or actually, he's reworking the foldable board.
Okay.
Just got an email about that, so I haven't seen what the way the board is going to look like, but that's being reworked a little bit. So that's going to be £5, so about $7.
Yeah.
And then there is this edition that you see in front of us, which I'll have to clarify, and I'll get clarity in the description, whether or not the meeples are part of this edition or if they're only part of the next edition up, because this might be because this is the middle ground edition we have.
Yeah, I'm not sure they are part of it. I think they might be. We got them as part of the prototype. But...
Yeah. So I'll clarify that in the description. I'll get you an answer on that down there. This one's going to be £15. So, no, £12. So just about $16. And then there is the Ragnarok version, which
like 40.
Was it 40?
Yeah, £40.
Okay, yeah, £40.
That's all wooden.
So that's everything is wooden. The cards are going to be bigger. There's going to be double layered boards to play on. So really the deluxeified version of it, which I mean for £40, so
yeah,
$50, less than $50.
Yeah.
I'd say it's a good value. Not to jump into the next part, but it's a good value at any of the price points.
It depends on your attention to the game too. Like I mean, it's a quick, as we said earlier, 15 to 30 minute game for 2 players or 1 player. If you're looking to travel with it, maybe you don't want a larger version of it.
Right.
But if you like your bespoke games experience, if that has a qualitative impact for your gameplay, that is available, and it's not like an absurd deluxeified like $200 edition of the game. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I think it's something that I enjoy the solo. If you're looking for a solo game that gives you kind of a chess-like experience against the AI.
Mm-hmm.
But also really enjoyed the 2-player experience of the game.
Yeah, no, I really like how it really does fit up to its billing in terms of it's a tactical worker placement game. Because as I said, like a lot of the decisions you make are not just based off of what you want to do, but what you don't want your opponent to do. So I think they did a really good job of fitting that all into a small game. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of decisions. There's not a lot of decision space, but in a good way, because it forms those tactics. But there's a lot of variability in the play. So everything's double-sided, as Scott was saying. So there's no 2 games going to feel exactly the same.
You're going to get some nice variability there. But yeah, and I think it's an exciting space to have good 2-player strategy games that are truly feel like they were built for a 2-player experience.
Yeah, I want to play through it solo a few more times, but I'm definitely going to be adding this to my library. I might even get the deluxe edition because I am a sucker for deluxe editions, and the price is really good, and I have no impulse control.
So excellent. So definitely take a look at Micro Midgard if you're looking for solo 2-player experience. It's going to be out on crowdfunding. We will post the additional details for that campaign. Hopefully this is something that you are excited about. And we wish you best of luck with your future board gaming adventures.
And thank you for joining us on ours.